So, we have a whole new, by area, an enormous amount of the circuit board unlocked. It's got level 3 techs in it. Unfortunately, you have to spend a bunch of CP to get all the way to those, and we're fresh out on account of how I've been leveling up, like, at all, ever. So I went back to Rookie Harbour and actually bought some of the respec items, and I basically min-maxed it so I can get a whole bunch of level 3 techs. And we're going to be seeing some of them.
Why did we need to buy any respec things? I thought the game was like fucking handing them out like candy after each of the dungeons.
Oh, right, we have just about enough that you can do 2 full respecs if you want. The workings of it are what they are. I say bought only because, like, you still have to spend them to get the respecs. That kind of buying. It's very semantic. But if we ever wanted to do that more than 2 times, well, fuck you. I have spoken previously about my displeasure on this account. But yeah, the short version of this is that we now have a lot less stats. Also, okay.
What are they even jumping on down there?
There's a log that's exactly the correct height to jump up there. I think they're trying to do the correct path that they found, and the AI is just messing up. That actually is a valid path to get up there. It is some kind of a fail by the GameSpot, but not the one it seems. So anyway, yeah, this cave is kind of annoying. In, you know, that exact CrossCode way that everybody loves. But still...
Oh, is it the pillars down there? It's the pillars.
I mean, I did think that, and I was like, you're fucking kidding me. But it turns out they actually were fucking kidding me. Sometimes, it's not as bad as you think.
I mean, when it comes to this game, I'm always a little skeptical of that claim. I feel like most of the time,
fair.
it is in fact exactly as bad as we think.
Well, sometimes it's exactly as bad as we think, and I think it's good, and it actually is good. So, you know, it holds up. But, you know, that's just me liking literally everything that this game does. That's not really news to anyone at this point. Okay, for real, new area.
Very pretty.
It's something.
I dig the aesthetic going on here in Sapphire Ridge.
This place is extremely aesthetic.
Kind of reminds me a bit of Satoral Marsh.
But that's not the most interesting thing about Sapphire Ridge. Sorry, Emily. The next couple hours are maybe gonna suck a little bit for you. Funnily enough, as I believe has been mentioned before, this is the point in the game where you can freely mix and match your party, and you can come here with Apollo and Jern, or with nobody if you want. And they'll be like, huh, wait, is Emily afraid of bugs? Oh dear. And that's pretty much the only interesting dialogue that any of them get. So I stuck with Emily and Tronny.
Ah, I see the key thrust has a bit of an upgrade there.
Oh, we've had the level 2 version of it for a while. It's just kind of annoying to actually hit a lot of people with it, because the second hit comes out on a big delay, and...
Oh, this looks awful.
Oh yeah. So, Okay, I know we just got done with the whole bit about saying that this isn't as bad as it looks, but guys, I swear, this isn't as bad as it looks, and frankly, I'm mostly saying that because we're watching this right now on the shitty 320p commentary encode with, like, no bitrate. But when you're actually rolling through here, they do actually use a different tile set for the bamboos that you can walk through and the ones that you can't. They make it reasonably apparent. There are a couple times when they're, they keep it hidden, but that's actually deliberate. All of the times when they do that are times when the game will eventually just tell you, like, hey, there's a secret here at some point. That said, they're actually all spottable, technically, all of those, so, you know, feel free to feel smug if you see something that it looks like I've missed, because I haven't. I'm just appropriately pacing the content.
It's like, I can see it, it's just... Oh, that looks awful.
Believe me, there is a point in Sapphire Ridge where this conceit actually is awful, but it's not for the reason you might be thinking. We'll get to that. So anyway, Sapphire Ridge is where, you know, we've been saying the gloves have been coming off with the dungeon puzzle design all game long. Sapphire Ridge is when the gloves come off with regards to the stuff that we're solving in the environment to get chests. And honestly, it's actually a bit more compact than Gaia's Garden was, but the intensity of some of these puzzles gets ratcheted way up. It might shock you to learn that I fucking love this. So I guess we should probably talk about the Samurai Beatles, huh?
I mean, they look very cool.
They are definitely a late game enemy.
Honestly, I'm not sure why they bug Emily so much, because they're not really insects anymore, you know, when they turn into start busting out their fucking katanas.
Look, I don't write the rules. Emily's just the way she is, okay? We gotta deal with it. Speaking of dealing with it, these guys are a bit of a fucker to deal with. They attack really quickly, they hit really hard, and they are techie. They will dodge and block and parry you, and you will get hit by them, and it will suck. Eventually, like with, you know, video games generally, you can learn to read them, and you will be like, wow, how did I ever get so thoroughly chumped by these guys? But until you do, you might spend a decent amount of time avoiding these guys. Here is a half tank, half panda. These guys are the actual really annoying enemy in this area. Their deal is they're only vulnerable from the side. Front and back are armoured. You've got to hit them from the side, both to stun them and when they're stunned. But also they do a really big area attack when they get stunned. That can get you. Thank you, Trolley.
Okay, but like, what's the lore reason for the pandas? That's what I want to know.
Oh, it's the track. It's always the fucking track. You even have to ask. The track just does these things.
Really? The track just woke up one day and was like, you know what? I think we should turn
Level
this
3
panda...
tax!
Oh, okay.
Any questions?
That was a lot.
Yeah.
What the fuck even was that?
That was a level 3 tech, motherfucker. They're all like that.
Okay, but yes, but like...
Every single one of them is like that.
But like, what was it, though? Was that supposed to be the throw tech, or what?
Yes, actually, that was the throw tech. I believe I mentioned before that the wave techs are all kind of weird. So, what that one does... It fires one projectile, which gets a very big area effect around it that pulls enemies into it, and does a decent amount of damage and will heal you for a fair bit. Then, it fires a big fucking laser, which actually drains your hit points. I don't believe it can kill you, but it will take you to 0 health if you don't hit anything with the big one. And other than that, it's a giant fucking laser. It hits in a big area, it hits a bunch of times, it does wave damage, it stuns people. What do you want? The actual laser part is exactly the way it looks. But no, go on, I believe we were in the middle of something when I got into that. Or are you just too bowled over by the sight of the laser beam?
I mean, the laser beam was very beautiful. But also, I mean, it was just, you know, the track being like, oh, yeah, today, I think today I'm going to turn this panda into a tank and make it explode. Because that's what pandas do.
I mean, that's basically what it did with, like, all of the other stuff that we fought. Like, right down to the bugs in the temple line. They just appeared and then took over the machinery that was there. And we're like, hey, this thing fights for the track now. And we just have to deal with it. Now, you might notice, while we're in the ice element, that our shield looks a little bit different. You saw it just a second ago, maybe we'll see it again. That's because there is an upgrade in the ice tree, which turns your shield into a 360-degree affair. So it can block the back and sides as well as from the front. And if you spec your techs a certain way, we didn't, but we could have, if you spec a certain way, you can get a second stacking copy of that mode. And that can block attacks from the top as well. Here's Wave Motion Beam again. It really is. It is exactly as satisfying to fire as it looks. Thank you, Tronny. I've got like 6 or 7 of these things. I'm making a point of showing them off. I suppose it's probably fairly self-evident at this point that the purple and the red beetles behave similarly but differently. The purple ones are really all about dodging and hitting you back. The red ones are the ones with the bad counter. The red ones are the ones with the novice trap. The red ones are probably the one with the attack that you will learn to memorize first. You know, because they'll kill you. Also, spiders. Can you believe we've not had spiders yet?
It is a little impressive that they've gone this long without dropping the spiders.
Now, to be completely fair to the game, there is one point that we could have encountered them earlier. There is a little hidden area in Autumn's Fall, which I'm gonna show eventually because there's one of the unique hidden items there. But in that area there are a couple of these spiders, and they are the spiders. They are like 20 levels ahead of everything else there. We are not supposed to go there. Of course, if you're really insistent, you absolutely can go there, and you can use all your fun techs and all your chip damage and, you know, probably setting them on fire. And you can kill them, it will work, it can be done. I'm just saying you shouldn't. It's a bad time. Anyway, you might have noticed that we had a fairly blatant opportunity to enter a cave, and we've passed it up. This is because of how this area works. Sapphire Ridge is, like, it's not a dungeon, but it's got a plot quest that's fairly involved that requires us to do some things that require us to explore in a fairly methodical manner. That right there was the level 2 wave decoys. It's the same as a level 1, except it lasts a lot longer, and it has a big damage field around it. Toxic Revenant is absolutely fucking broken. This is what it looks like when you're not up to fighting those guys, by the way. I had to leave at least one of them in.
I'm a big fan of how Emily asks us if there's anything else we can fight, as if there aren't, like, 2 enemies in this entire area, and they're both Samurai Beatles.
It's really more of a begging matter than anything else. Anyway, you'd be forgiven for missing it, because it comes out pretty quickly, but I've also briefly switched to Fey round for our wave level 1 throw. It's a shot. It fires a projectile, it goes fast, it goes through stuff. It even bounces a bit if you let it. It's fairly utilitarian, not very flashy, so I don't like it very much. Besides, I'm working through the boring stuff, so that we can show off a little more of the far end of the tech tree. It is kind of notable that those techs do all cost 6 skill points to fire, and our resting is 3, so we have to fairly deliberately pace ourselves if we want to bring one of those to bear. Yes, of course we're going to be walking on top of these Torii gates. Did you honestly expect literally anything else? Have you been paying literally any attention for the past 56 videos and bonuses? There is some decent equipment around here. Decent in that, you know, it's the higher level stuff, it's got the marginally better numbers on it. I don't think any of it is that interesting, but it's there and it's welcome. We pick it up and we put it on.
Gotta get that HP regen.
Believe me, in this place it helps a lot more than otherwise. It takes a while to get used to these guys. Okay, so yes, I did hit the overload on that one. I'm very sorry, but on the other hand, we manifested a Gatling gun on a turret made out of ice. And it just fires a big stream of ice bullets for about 3 or 4 seconds. Once again, any questions? Excellent. Now, obviously, there was going to be a level 3 version of the giant ice big number spike. I really hope that didn't come as a surprise to anybody.
You know, I appreciate the big number spike.
Of course you do. Everyone appreciates the big number spike, that's why I equipped it. There is an alternate. It's, you know, it's the twirl, except it lasts a lot longer and you can move it around a little, and I'm never going to use it, because why would I ever not use the big number spike? Like, come on, man.
I see those, ball puzzle pillars. Not sure I like where that's going.
You see, we say that, but, I think we actually both like and cannot wait to get where it is going at this point. The game knows itself at this point. We know what we're getting into. We see those things lying around. We know there are going to be some bouncing shots, and we know that we are going to love it. I think we can admit this to ourselves now. It's okay. It's safe to admit it. But yeah, I, at this point, consider myself reasonably competent at this game. And these fucking bugs, they are still entirely capable of giving me the runaround if I take my eye off the ball for even a single goddamn second.
Now see that was what I was waiting for there. The moment they introduced that, oh, you can walk through some of the bamboo.
Would it interest you to know that that is not even the notable thing about that place? Believe me, you are going to hate it exactly as much as you're expecting to, but absolutely not for the reason you're expecting to. Speaking of hate, there's well, there's this. This one I definitely hate, and it is also not because of it being particularly difficult to see where the path is. It's actually incredibly easy to see where the path is. This one I hate because we're going to have to rush through it. We're going to have to race a shot through that maze, and there are some fucking choke points that if you don't come at it from exactly the right angle, it just, you get stuck on it. And it is the most irritating fucking thing. Also, yeah, it takes a little bit of going to figure out how to start this one, but so yeah. This one's a thing. This took a couple tries. There are so many ways to fuck this up. And the worst part is, because of how that exact bit works, you can't rush the beginning and buy yourself more time later. You have to do that last bit perfectly, and it will always come down to the wire. It's possible that I might not love this one. It's
I'll say this whole, I am sure that we will have plenty of opportunities to further discuss this, but this kind of thing where it is just explicitly like, hey, here is a thing that you do in the dungeons, but here, on the overworld, this is very Skyward Sword-y.
I see it. I see it a little bit. There is kind of a difference. I don't think we ever see this kind of puzzle where we are pacing ourselves alongside a shot in dungeons. We get the giant shot bouncy baby city puzzles at the end of each one, but like, I don't know. They don't feel the same, even though they use a lot of the same elements.
I mean, to be fair, that's also how Skyward Sword's overworlds work. They use... Like, they're not... You know, you're not finding keys in the middle of fucking, you know, the Sand Sea Desert.
No. Not wrong. I spent an actual real-life half an hour at this point trying to figure out where the next bit of the path was, because it turns out that, unironically, putting those giant green circles to literally lay out where the path is actually made it less obvious to me that that path was there. I hate it, and yet I've got to hand it to him.
I mean, as usual, they didn't lie to you. It was right there in front of you the whole time.
You see what I mean, though? This area is literally peak CrossCode. This is the game's final form. They figured out what the hell they're doing. They know what they can get away with. They know what they're good at. They know how the overworld puzzles are gonna work. And what if it all just peaked? And what if it was incredible? Anyway, I think we've kind of broken Emily a bit.
I mean, you've exposed her to her trauma so much that at this point, the only thing she can do is just be like, yeah, that's cool, I guess.
Sure, giant walking samurai bugs, whatever. Kind of seen it all at this point, really. Where else is there for the trauma to go from here?
Oh, Emily, sweetie, that's not perfectly normal bamboo. That's a platform, and you know it.
Oh yeah, but it is regular. It's... like, this is pretty inarguable, really. You can't take that from it. There was supposed to be an achievement pop up there, because there is an achievement for examining all of the perfectly regular environment items, but it got lost due to an editing accident. It was very tragic. You're gonna have to take my word for it. The achievement is called There Is No Cow Level. I'll let you all piece that one together.